Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to MTGO Traders. My name is Taryn, and this is Golgari Zombies for Modern. So it's October, and I wanted to kind of make some decks that were kind of a little spooky, kind of a little themed towards the horror theme, kind of Halloween themed. And why not start with zombies for Halloween or for October and go from there until basically Halloween itself. This is Golgari Zombies. Actually, a lot of cards from Guild of Ravnica in this deck as well, just because there's so many good things coming from Guild of Ravnica, so pumping up this deck, making it a Golgari Zombies list. So very fun, very tribal focused, lots of lords in this deck, and lots of great ways for us to draw some cards as well. So let's jump right into the deck tech, guys. Alright, here we are with the full deck layout. Starting with, of course, our creatures. We have a ton of creatures in this deck list. And we're going to start with Cryptbreaker, a great turn 1 play for us, and a great way for us to draw cards, make zombies, just do a ton of stuff. Basically, this is going to be a removal magnet for our opponent. If our opponent does not deal with the Cryptbreaker like immediately, then we're going to get so much value out of this card. It's insane. A 1-mana 1/1, you pay 2, discard a card, put a 2/2 black zombie creature token into the battlefield, or you can tap 3 untapped zombies you control and draw a card and lose 1 life. So, 2 different things here, both of them very, very good. And those 2/2 black zombies, they come into the battlefield and they don't come to the battlefield tapped, so you can use them for Cryptbreaker's second ability as well. So an instep on your opponent's turn, like tapping your creatures and drawing a card, is very good. You're basically drawing 2 cards a turn, and it's just, again, a fantastic turn 1 play. Next up for us, another good turn 1 play is Gravecrawler here, a 1-mana 2/1 zombie. It can't block, that is the downside, but we are a zombie deck, so we're trying to come at you every single turn. You may cast Gravecrawler from your graveyard as long as you control a zombie. So if the opponent doesn't have any like graveyard kind of exile hate in game 1, then Gravecrawler is going to constantly come back and be just a menace to their board state, attacking in every single turn. Sadly, it does not have haste, but it does have this awesome recursion mechanic here, being able to come back over and over again until your opponent is dead. Next up here for us, we've got Relentless Dead, a similar card to Gravecrawler, but we got to pay some mana for this one. A 2-mana 2/2 zombie with menace, meaning it's a little bit harder to block. Whenever it dies, you may pay black. If you do, return it to its owner's hand, which is very nice. Or whenever it dies, you may pay X, and if you do, return another target zombie creature with converted mana cost X from your graveyard to the battlefield. So if you want to replace this with the lord that just died recently, and this is just being killed or whatever, then a great way to kind of flip them. That's very good. Or if the Relentless Dead is dead and you only have 1 black mana up, you can actually throw this back into your hand as well if you have the mana available. So Relentless Dead's kind of different in that it isn't necessarily Gravecrawler where you can't just cast it from the graveyard, so it's a when it dies trigger for both different situations here, but both of them are very, very good for you, being able to kind of get back value for Relentless Dead, or get back value by making a lord from your graveyard come back on the battlefield, so very good there. Moving up here, we've got Lotleth Troll, another great card for us, a Golgari zombie here. It's a 2/1 zombie troll with trample. Discard a card, put a +1/+1 counter on Lotleth Troll. You can also pay 1 black and regenerate the troll. This is doing a lot of things, and all of these things are fantastic for you. Trample on this is actually one of the best mechanics, honestly, in the zombie deck, because there are so many situations in Modern where you just have a gummed up board state, and to get around that, you just need Trample to get through it. You just need to kind of plow through all the creatures on your opponent's side of the field and continue to do damage. The Troll does that for you very, very well. And also throwing cards from your hand into the graveyard like Gravecrawler is actually not bad at all, because you can recast them from the graveyard. So very good situation there for us as well. Love Lotleth Troll. Probably one of the best reasons to go Golgari for Golgari Zombies. Next up here for us, we've got Midnight Reaper. This is a new card from Guilds of Ravnica. Very good card draw for us. A 3-mana 3/2 zombie knight. Whenever a non-token creature you control dies, Midnight Reaper deals 1 damage to you, then you draw a card. So this is basically Cryptbreaker's ability, but without having to tap creatures, just something dies and you draw a card, including if Midnight Reaper does get killed by something. Now keep in mind, Modern is all about kind of exile hate, so Path to Exile means that Midnight Reaper isn't as effective, but we do have Fatal Push, we do have Assassin's Trophy, and we do have, Lightning Bolt, those kind of things in Modern that really, make sure your creatures are killed. So Midnight Reaper is going to get off a few triggers, unless you're playing up against a white deck. In that case, you probably want to board Midnight Reaper out and bring in something else, because Path to Exile is most likely in their deck list. But very good card. A 3-mana 3/2 is also not bad either, but great card draw for you overall. Next, of course, we've got Lord of the Accursed. We're going through the lords now. Lord of the Accursed is a 3-mana 2/3. All other zombies you control get +1/+1. Very good. But also, you can pay to tap this, and all zombies gain menace. So just a great way to end a match for you if against a lot of the big board states in Modern. Next up, we've got Cemetery Reaper, a 3-mana 2/2 zombie. Other zombies you control get +1/+1. Very good again. You can pay 3 and tap it. Exile a target creature card from a graveyard. So this could be your opponent's graveyard. So if your opponent is playing a lot of Bloodghast or anything that has lots of recursion like Vengevine or whatever, then you can definitely use Cemetery Reaper here. Very good against the Hollow One deck right now. You can exile a creature card from their graveyard or your graveyard, whatever, and create a 2/2 black zombie creature token onto the battlefield. And again, it doesn't come in tap, which is very good as well. So Cemetery Reaper, another great lord for us. Next up, we've got Death Baron. This is a new card from Core Set 2019. 3-mana 2/2 zombie wizard. Skeletons you control and other zombies you control get +1/+1 and have Death Touch. Now, this is one of the best lords for you because, again, it's giving you Death Touch, which is one of the best ways to continue to press in your advantage and make sure that your opponent will probably not block that 2 or 3 points of damage every single turn unless they really have to, because they're going to lose their creature if they have to block a zombie on your side of the field. So Death Baron is probably my favorite lord. Cemetery Reaper is probably second favorite, and Lord of the Accursed is a nice third there. Next up for us, we've got Gurmag Angler. So this is a zombie fish, and it's going to get pumped by the other lords, but it's also really good with Lot the Troll, Gravecrawler, Relentless Ed, those kind of things where they're going to constantly be going to the graveyard like frequently, and Gurmag Angler is going to come out really cheap pretty quickly. It's a 7-mana 5/5 zombie fish with Delve. For each card you exile from your graveyard while casting the spell, it pays for 1 colorless, and it's just a 5/5, and that's it. But, you know, being a 1-mana 5/5 coming in is super powerful on turn 3 or 4 if you're throwing a lot of things into the graveyard, thanks to Lot the Troll, that kind of stuff, or you're throwing things into the graveyard thanks to Crypt Breaker. So Gurmag Angler is just a fantastic, like, high-end bomb for you in your zombie deck list. And moving on to our spells here, we've got 4. We've got Assassin's Trophy, again, Guilds of Ravnica card. This card is so good, it's kind of insane. A 2-mana instant, destroy target permanent and opponent controls. Its controller may search their library for a basic land card, put it onto the battlefield, then shuffle their library. So the best upside here is that it just destroys whatever you have, what your opponent has on their side of the field, including a Tron land. And yeah, it's a real deal. One of the reasons to go into Golgari Zombies again is that you have really good removal against anything on your opponent's side of the field. It's not exile hate, which is kind of sad, but we still have the Cemetery Reaper. If it is a creature, we can't exile it with that. But Assassin's Trophy is instant speed, destroy whatever on your opponent's side of the field. So turn 3, they hit their 3rd Tron land, just get rid of it and make sure they get a basic instead. And yeah, this is perfect for that. Very good card, and would definitely recommend to have this in your main board for Modern. Next up for us, we've got 2 Liliana Untouched by Death, a Core Set 2019 card, 4 mana, 4 loyalty, 3 abilities here for the Planeswalker. +1, put the top 3 cards of your library into your graveyard. If at least one of them is a zombie card, each opponent loses 2 life and you gain 2 life. So this is actually very important in the Modern matches, especially near the end of the match where you're kind of like both near the end of your life total. Liliana can really help you kind of fill your graveyard with answers to bring back, and also gain you life and have your opponent kind of lose life. So sometimes in Modern situations where the board set is really gummed up thanks to elves or spirits or tokens or whatever, there are situations where you really just need 2 or 4 more points of damage, and Liliana Untouched by Death is definitely going to get you there and win with her +1. -2 here is target creature gets -X until end of turn, where X is the number of zombies you control. Again, this is just a removal spell flat out most of the time. Very good for you. And -3 here, you may cast zombie cards from your graveyard this turn. So if Liliana survives a turn and takes up to 5, and then the following turn you have tons of zombies in the graveyard, just -3 and then cast everything from your graveyard again. Liliana Untouched by Death is just fantastic at being able to get all the zombies from your graveyard back to the battlefield and, you know, in fighting stance. But that is all the cards in the main board here besides lands. Let's go over lands really quickly. We have 11 Swamp, and then 4 Llanowar Wastes, and then we have 4 Overgrown Tomb and 4 Woodland Cemetery. We could replace the Llanowar Wastes with fetch lands if you want to. Of course, I'm trying to keep it a little cheap on the cheap end here. If you notice on MTGO, it's only about 100 tickets, which is very nice. And if you want to build this in paper, it's about $342, which again, pretty nice for a Modern deck. Not necessarily the most expensive, but not necessarily the cheapest either, just kind of in the middle range for paper decks. So let's move on to the sideboard here and see what we have in this deck list. Starting with Fatal Push, of course, a great card against the Tarmogoyfs, the Death Shadow, those kind of decks in the format. So have 3 of these in the sideboard here. Nature's Claim is here against the Affinity deck, so you don't really run up against most Affinity decks that bad, as far as you're not that weak against them with zombies, because you have so many things on the field that kind of get in for damage over and over again. especially with Death Baron in your deck as well. So just a great way for you to kind of continue to press your advantage while they build out their board state. Keep in mind with the affinity decks, they're going to, you know, explode their deck list in like turn 2 and 3, or explode their board state in turn 2 and 3. And after that, they just kind of sit there and wait for a cranial plate or, you know, whatever to try and get in for some flying damage with Ornithopter or something like that. So getting in with Death Baron is very nice. Nature's Claim those coming in to deal with those, you know, cranial plating or an Ornithopter, just in case they get in a lot of damage early on. Still very, very good, and it does gain your opponent 4 life, but that isn't really that big of a deal for you, honestly. This is also good against an enchantment style deck as well, so if you're up against a Boggles deck, then Nature's Claim might be coming in for that setup as well. Next up we have Nihil Spellbomb. Now this is interesting because it kind of goes against our deck list. A 1-mana artifact, you can tap it, sacrifice it, exile all cards from target player's graveyard. Whenever it's put into the graveyard from the battlefield, you may pay black if you do draw a card. So the upside here is that it doesn't exile your graveyard, it exiles target player, which is very good for you. And you get to pay, you know, 1 black and draw a card. Very, very good. So I guess in that way, it's not really a setback for us at all. Very, very good card for you if your opponent is using lots of graveyard recursion, Hollow One, stuff like that. Delve with their own Gurmang Anglers, those kind of things. Very big deals in Modern, and Spellbomb can hopefully deal with that situation for you. Next up for us is Feed the Clans. So against some situations, you're really going to want to gain some life, and for 2 mana you gain 5 life, and for, you know, 2 mana you might gain 10 life if you control a creature with power 4 or greater. Thanks to all of the lords in the deck, getting that ferocious trigger there is not hard at all. This is really against the decks where you're just kind of like having a slug match back and forth. You're taking points, they're taking points, you're taking points, they're taking points, and they're about to win, and then you gain 10 life, and then you win the following turn. I think Feed the Clan is perfect for that. Just a great way for you to kind of elongate the match a little bit to make sure you get in that win. Next up for us, against any kind of control matchup, we have Choke here, a 3-mana enchantment. Islands don't untap during their controller's untap step. Very fun, very interesting against a control player, and just very annoying overall. I love this card for that, especially. I do think this card isn't that suited against most matchups, but really if your opponent is playing like an Esper control list, or if they're playing something where they have lots of different styles of like, you know, control decks like Dimir control, or maybe even like a Dimir or Esper mill, then Choke is going to be a card that you definitely want to bring in to your main board. Moving up here for us, we've got Maelstrom Pulse. So this is against the token-based strategy, against the strategy where they have 4 ofs of everything in their deck. A 3-mana sorcery, destroying target non-land permanent and all other permanents with the same name as that permanent. So very good against those kind of strategies as well. One of the favorite things about this is, you know, if they get out some Hollow Ones really, really early in the Hollow One deck on turn 2 or 3, then you can just go Maelstrom Pulse and just destroy all of them. So very nice that way too. But that's going to do it for the full sideboard, and that is going to do it for the full deck list, the full 75. Let's get into some matches, guys, and see how this deck performs. Alright, jumping into match 1 here with Golgari Zombies. So, brains. Okay, let's see what we have for opening hand here. Not bad. Have 2 lands, 3 lands. So, 2 Lawless Trolls, Death Baron, and a Liliana Untouched by Death. That's a definitely keep for us. Opponent's going to go for Windswept Heath and pass turn. We're going to go for a Swamp and pass turn. Going to crack that Windswept Heath and go for a... It's like a Overgrown Tomb. 2 mana here for the opponent. Maybe Jund. Ooh, Thoughtseize from the opponent here. Probably want to grab the Death Baron or the Liliana. I think the Death Baron might be the pick here for us, for the opponent. Really mulling it over. Yep, gonna grab the Death Baron there. We draw another Lord instead. Very nice. Ooh, Law of the Troll dying to a Fatal Push. Very early. Not good for us. I'm going for a Bitter Blossom here. This might be a token-based deck. Let's go Lord of the Accursed. They're going for a Fairy here and playing Windswept Heath once again. I assume I'm going for a white mana. There we go. Liliana Last Hope. Alright. We have Overgrown Tomb and Llanowar Waste. Let's go for a Liliana ourselves. And we could go for a +1 here. Or just -2 to kill that Fairy. But we're not really worried about the Fairy, honestly. We're just going to go +2 here and throw some stuff into the graveyard. And then wait for next turn so we can go with a lot of the Troll and Relentless Dead. Hitting in for 1 in the air against Liliana. And they go for the Lingering Souls. So this is definitely a counters or a tokens list. Drawing into another Lotleth Troll here is pretty good. Let's go for a Relentless Dead first, and then go for another Lotleth Troll. And then we could use the Liliana here to -2 one of these spirits if we want to, or just +2 again and gain some life. The best thing here for us is that we're just slowly draining their life total with Liliana here, because we're gaining 2 and they're losing 2. Keep in mind they're at 10 now, we're at 23, so that is one of the best upsides here if you're playing a zombie deck with Liliana. It's kind of a pseudo win condition, just a +1 here. As long as you have cards in your deck, it's definitely a great way to win the match. Now they have lots of flying damage in the air. They have, what, 5 right now? And 3 cards in hand. So they definitely have the way to get a Liliana killed the following turn if they want to, but they're just going to scoop it up. No way to kind of come back from that, really. An early scoop. I feel like the opponent was scooping a little too prematurely there. I do think that the Liliana not being able to be killed the following turn, though, for them is probably not great. But I think that we probably would have been fine. The thing there, though, had they attacked out to kill Liliana, they would have died themselves. So we're kind of in a rock and a hard place. All right, after sideboarding, let's get into game 2 here. 3 land in our hand again. That's a good keep. A turn 1 play for Cryptbreaker, and turn 2 play with Relentless Dead. Very nice. And drawing into a Death Baron here is quite good as well. Tap land for the opponent. We're going to go Cryptbreaker and get that out and pass turn. Alright. Tap land, Shambling Vince for the opponent, pass turn back to us. We're going to go Llanowar Waste and go Relentless Dead here, pinging ourselves for 1 thanks to that Llanowar Waste. I could have gone with the Overgrown Tomb, but wanted to kind of wait for that. They go for the Fatal Push for Relentless Dead here. Not that great for us, because we didn't have the mana to bring it back. Alright, Tarmogoyf from the opponent here. Let's go for Death Baron and just get in for 2 Death Touch. Opponent's thinking about it. Oh, they actually have Path to Exile for the Death Baron, which means we lose both of our creatures here. And they swap in for 2. Go for an Overgrown Tomb, have it come in untapped, and we go Death Baron into Relentless Dead, pass turn. It's a little bit of a harder situation here for us. We have Assassin's Trophy in the deck list, but we haven't seen it yet. Let's see if they have another Path to Exile. They do! Always the hard to deal with situation, Path to Exile removal. More spirits, Liliana here for us. And we're just going to go 2 of the Cemetery Reapers here. Make 2 3/3s and pass turn. Keep in mind, Tarmogoyf is only a 2/3 right now, so not that big of a deal for us. They're just going to get in for 4 in the air, drop us down to 6. Liliana is really good here for us because it does gain us life, but it could just be in a bad situation. Spellbomb in the field for the opponent. Yeah, they're going to exile our graveyard. Not really that bad of a situation for us, honestly. Let's just go +1 here, go to 8, and make a Relentless Dead. And just pass turn here. Since Tarmogoyf has lands, or we have lands in the graveyard now, Tarmogoyf is now a 4/5, so we did inadvertently make Tarmogoyf a little bit stronger there. But we're going to go with a triple block against Tarmogoyf here and see how they're going to do the lineup with the damage. Alright, we do lose a Cemetery Reaper, and Tarmogoyf is down. And they hit us indirectly for the spirits, so Assassin's Trophy on our Liliana. Not good. Another Relentless Dead here, but I feel like that's probably just it. We don't have any removal, and we can't deal with flyers. And that's going to do it for game 2 here. Alright, sideboard game plan here. Take out Liliana, bring it in. Probably feed the clan. We could bring in maybe Spellbomb ourselves. Bringing in Fatal Push, taking out Midnight Reaper, and taking out one last Relentless Dead and hitting Submit. Fatal Pushes, of course, are for those Tarmogoyfs. 2 land opening hand with an Assassin's Trophy. That's a keep for me. As long as we don't see a turn 1 Thoughtseize from the opponent, we should be fine. But as you know, turn 1 Thoughtseize is that's just how Modern plays. Alright, let's see here if they have it. Blooming Marsh, they don't have it. Awesome. Alright, so we go for a Overgrown Tomb and say no. And then just get in for 2 here, and then get in for Relentless Dead play on main phase 2. Just trying to work around that Overgrown Tomb play. Went to a Heath from the opponent. We're going to go for a 3rd land drop and crash in with a Cemetery Reaper and crash in for 6. Windswept Heath sack, going for a Godless Shrine and a Fatal Push on the Cemetery Reaper. No problem. Keep in mind, if they do destroy the grave crawlers, we just have ways to get them back with just by casting zombies. Let's go with Assassin's Trophy on the Tarmogoyf here. Have a Plains here. Let's get in for 2. 4, drop them down to 9. Relentless Dead, and pass turn. Ooh, they're going to go for a push on the Relentless Dead. Again, getting that situation where they destroy the Relentless Dead when we have no mana up, so can't use Relentless Dead's ability here. Tarmogoyf, another Tarmogoyf coming in, 3/4, and some spirits. Since we can't block, we're just going to swing in. No problem. Let's go with the Gravecrawler and then just recast our Gravecrawlers from the graveyard. That's the best thing about the Gravecrawler, is that if you don't have Graveyard Exile, it's just a great card that comes back over and over again. Even though it can't block, we're still going to win the battle race of life points, thanks to them not really making much blockers. Although they made a ton of tokens just this turn, so. Death Baron for us, very nice. This makes everything Death Touch and actually has to be double blocked by tokens if we need to, or if they can. They have 0 cards in hand as well, so we're not seeing a path to exile. They're going to go with a triple block here. Marsh Flats Sack going for an Overgrown Tomb. 1 card in hand here. We're both out of gas, however, they have Lingering Souls in the graveyard, so they're going to go for 2 more, and they're going to actually pass turn. We have Cemetery Reaper off the top here, and we're just going to crash in for 12 points of damage with our Gravecrawlers. Let's see what our opponent has for us. Just waiting for a confirmation. If we can crash in. Are we allowed to crash in, please? Thank you. Alright, getting in for 12 here. Let's see if we can force a scoop this turn or next turn. Gonna go with a block on the Tarmogoyf and another Spirit blocks. Okay, interesting. Do they have removal for the Death Baron or the Cemetery Reaper? They have Abrupt Decay, so the Tarmogoyf does survive. Main phase 2, we just bring back a Gravecrawler. Again, one of the best things about Gravecrawlers is you can just continually recast them. It's my favorite part about the Golgari Zombie list here. Juka Bog there gets rid of our graveyard. Overgrown Tomb off the top. We don't care about that. We're just crashing in because we're crazy. More blocks from the opponent. Recast that Gravecrawler. And you can use the Cemetery Reaper here and get rid of a Tarmogoyf from their graveyard. And make your own zombie. 0 cards in hand. Let's see what they have off the top. They don't really have anything. Honestly, after that Tarmogoyf coming out of the graveyard, it actually killed their Tarmogoyf, thanks to those blocks. So that was something that I think he didn't realize, and we scoop it up for them. Nice. Let's get into match 2 here and see what we can do. 2 land hand, that's a good key for us. Black mana for the opponent. To our 3rd land, very nice. Let's go Swamp and pass. Ooh, this might be a Hollow One deck. Looks like a Hollow One deck. Let's go Woodland Cemetery here and go Lotleth Troll. 6 cards in hand for the opponent. The best part about our hand right now is probably the Assassin's Trophy against any kind of threat that the opponent's going to throw our way. Ooh, it looks like a Jund Hollow One list, maybe. We'll see. Woodland Cemetery again. Very nice. Let's discard a Gurmag Angler and another Angler to make a 4/3 and just get in for 4. Reason I'm throwing away the Angler first is because we want to be very aggressive and hold up that Assassin's Trophy and a Regenerate clause for the Lotleth Troll. Since they are Jund, they're not going to have any kind of exile hate, so that's perfectly fine. Let's see. Death Baron here into a Lotleth Troll. Thinking about playing the Death Baron. We're definitely going to do that. Let's get in for 6 points of damage here on turn 4. Ooh, Violent Outburst. Okay, so is this a combo deck? What's happening? Living End. Yes, okay, this is a Living End deck. Very nice. All that stuff they threw away, they have it now on the field. And then pass turn. Now, one of the things for us, it does give us the 2 Gurmag Anglers back, so this Living End wasn't necessarily as good for them as it was for us, because our Anglers beat out their board state. Keep in mind the Assassin's Trophies also help. Anger of the Gods for the opponent, so we're going to spend the mana, but it doesn't really do much to anger the Gods here. Now, they could attack in here for us if they want to. Yeah, they're going to swing in here. Taking 9, no problem. Go to 11. I'm okay with that. Alright, so we just win here because opponent did not think about us having 2 pieces of removal in our hand. Now the bad thing here is, yeah, there we go, opponent's giving it up. Opponent could have removal in their hand and we just gave them mana for that, but they scoop it up after they see the Assassin's Trophy. We're taking out the Anglers. We're bringing in probably the Maelstrom Pulses here, since we know that they're a Living In style deck. Could bring in Spell Bombs, which we do as well. And let's just submit and see what we can do in game 2 here. The Living In deck here is really fun to play against, but can't just win immediately, so it's very hard to, ooh, 1 mana hand into another 1 mana hand. Let's go with a keep here, thanks to the Grave Crawlers. We are on the draw, so we get to draw into a land. Gravecrawler pass. Or the broken lands into the board now. Get in for 2 here. And go for a Gravecrawler. Alright, gonna get rid of the Archfiend. This is kind of the turn that sells it. Probably should have played the Spell Bomb instead of the Gravecrawler there. Yep, they threw away a Simian Spirit Guide, and here we go. Demonic Dread into Cascade for a Living End. Yep. Lucky Devil. Yeah, this is probably a loss for us here now. Could have gone with another Gravecrawler, but again, the Gravecrawlers can't block. We're at 20. They're going to do a ton of damage here. Yep. And whenever they cycle, it kills our board, and that's going to be it. So let's get into game 3 here. Let's bring in a 3rd Spell Bomb, and let's take out maybe Midnight Reapers here. And we could bring in Fatal Push. The 3 mana, 2 Assassin's Trophies, 2 Lord of the Curse. I'll take it. Leyline of the Void is in their opening hand here. No problem. While that does suck for us, it's not that necessarily bad as far as being a step back. We definitely have lots of stuff we can just play out and be fine with. Gravecrawler does suffer from that, but should be alright. I think it's fair to go for a Cemetery Reaper this turn on turn 3. Ooh, Archfiend, stacking that out. Going for a Demonic Dread into a Living End. Getting Archfiend out. Alright, we're just going to go for a Spell Bomb here and for a Assassin's Trophy. Getting rid of that Archfiend. And thanks to Spell Bomb being here now, we have good ways to get rid of their graveyard. Another Leyline of the Void, alright. They're just kind of showing that they have nothing to do this turn, and that's perfectly fine. We're going to go Lord of the Accursed and pass. Sacking a Bloodstained Mire for the opponent. 5 cards in hand. Another land drop. Sacking Verdant Catacombs, going for an Overgrown Tomb. And going for a Desert Celadon. Nice. Gravecrawler, we're going to go for a Assassin's Trophy to the Celadon here. And then go Gravecrawler and get in 4-2. They have a lot of mana here, so they can definitely cast out stuff that they need. So, they're really not that behind. Use an Ignite Chewer. Destroy target artifact whenever it enters the battlefield. We're just going to go for Sacrifice and make sure they get rid of their graveyard. Another Leyline of the Void. 2 cards in hand from the opponent. Woodland Cemetery. And I just crash in for 7, drop them down to 7. Let's see if the opponent has anything this turn. Living In, okay. Fulminator Mage, no problem. And that's going to do it. Yeah. Sometimes those combo decks, they kind of get a little awkward, and if you have early game removal, then they just can't really do much. Let's get into match 3 here. 3 lands into, looks like a Godless Shrine. Inquisition of Kozilek. I assume they're going to get rid of the Assassin's Trophy from our hand. Yep. Go for a Woodland Cemetery pass. We don't have a turn 2 play. Marsh Flats from the opponent for another Godless Shrine, coming in untapped. Going for an Intangible Virtue, so another token list. Let's go for a Lotless Troll pass. We could start throwing stuff onto the Lotless Troll. We want to, but we're going to pass turn here for now. Not having the Yeah, the Lingering Souls, no problem. Not having the Regenerate clause on the Lot of the Troll makes it a little bit more difficult to play. Yeah, we're just going to start pitching things to the Troll here. Keep the Gurmang Angler because we're close to casting it, and then get in for 4 here. They could go with a double block here, but I don't know why they would because we have the Regenerate clause. But they're going to do that, so no problem. And we just eat your guys. No problem. Three cards in hand from the opponent, getting into their 4th. Marsh Flats once again. Sacking and grabbing a swamp. And going Lingering Souls once again. With a Bitter Blossom. Very nice. Alright, let's go for a 4th land drop. We could go Liliana. We could go Gurmang Angler. Let's just go for an attack first. Yep, no block. No problem. Thinking now about our play. Let's go for Liliana first and go +1. Go up to 22. They go down to 7. This actually feeds the Angler as well, making it a turn 1 play next turn. Bitter Blossom coming in, pinging them for 1 and making it 2-2. Going down to 4. Lingering Souls once again. And Zealous Persecution, alright. They don't have the win here, but they're probably going to go and try and kill Liliana. Which is fair. Cemetery Reaper for us. Yeah, let's just get rid of everything from our graveyard to cast the Angler for 1. And we could pitch the Cemetery Reaper, but, you know, also pumping our board state is nice too. So let's get in for 5-4 here. Now keep in mind, the Lot of the Troll has Trample, so they probably don't want to have any damage go through. So they may want to go with a double block here. That's exactly what they're going to do here. Going to regenerate. And take out 2 of their cards. And they go down to 3 thanks to the Trample. And they also go down to 2 thanks to Bitter Blossom the following turn. So they really need something next turn to gain them life, but not sure they'll have it. Land drop, okay. Lingering Souls from the graveyard. That could be the play here. But we're at 21, they're at 2, and I feel like it's probably in our favor now. They can definitely get in here for 6 in the air, drop us down to 15. Relentless Dead off the top, not bad, not great. I think it's just time to just swing in here. That's exactly what we're going to do. Swing in for 6 and 5. And then the Lot of the Troll, actually, the instant speed ability of being able to discard a creature card might mean that we would win this turn, or the following turn, by Bitter Blossom. Yeah, they're going to go with a triple block here. And a triple block there, wow. Let's discard Relentless Dead so they lose all of their tokens. Oh man, I feel so bad for them. We're down to 2 here, and we just passed turn. Could go Cemetery Reaper on that Gurmang Angler in our graveyard now. They go down to 1 card in hand. What could they have? They have nothing. Alright, let's get into sideboard here. Bringing in Maelstrom Pulse. Let's take out the, thinking about maybe taking out Relentless Dead. Let's take out the Midnight Reaper instead. And then bringing in Nature's Claim for that Intangible Virtue situation and taking out the Angler. And 1 Relentless Dead. Alright. 2 land opening hand, and that's nice. That's a good keep. Grip Breaker and Lot of the Troll makes this a great keep for us, along with Relentless Dead. Concealed Courtyard going for the turn 1 Thoughtseize. No! I assume they want to get rid of the Lot of the Troll because that was the card that gave them the most hassle. That's exactly what they're going to do. Grip Breaker. What they're going to do. Zealous Persecution. Ooh, interesting. Let's go Overgrown Tomb, go for Relentless Dead, pass turn. Godless Shrine coming in untapped. Going for a Lingering Souls. Llanowar Waste into a Death Baron here. And crashing in for 3 with Menace. Very nice. Down to 13. 3 cards in hand now. Going into the 4th. Would love to see another land off the top here. We'll see, though. Too many here, maybe an intangible virtue could be the case, or maybe another lingering souls. Collective brutality. Ooh, killing the Death Baron and getting rid of Nature's Claim from our hand with a Path to Exile. Wow, great line of play for the opponent this turn. Down to 16. Lot the Troll off the top. We're going to go for Lot the Troll here. And pass turn. One card in hand. Now the thing here is they used a lot of stuff this past turn, so Inquisition of Kozilek here. Let's just pitch everything to Lot the Troll. It doesn't matter. And another Lingering Souls. Okay. Getting in for 2 in the air. Swamp, we're going to hold that in our hand as a bluff and then just continue to grab in for 4. Probably no block this turn. Yeah, down to 9. The opponent's going to try and race me now. They just need to get into either a Zealous Persecution to pump a little bit, or a Path to Exile for the Lawless Troll. Ooh, Thoughtseize. Ouch, that hurts them. We draw into another land here. That's the advantage of keeping cards in hand like that. Even if it's a land and you don't need it, you definitely kind of force your opponent to kind of use their cards, like Inquisition of Kozilek. Again, just 2 lands. We got nothing. And that's it. Nice. All right, let's get into match 4 here. It's always a good idea to hold lands in your hand if you don't need them on the battlefield, because your opponent might be like, oh, that's something else. And they'll waste their Thoughtseize. All right, this is a decent opening hand for us. Gonna go with the keep. I like the turn 1 Crypt Breaker into a turn 2 Relentless Dead or a Assassin's Trophy. Need a 3rd land, though, for that Lord of the Accursed and Death Baron. Let's go for a swamp into a Crypt Breaker and see what our opponent is playing. Trying into their 8th card here. Ooh, Midnight. Okay, this is Affinity. Thopter pass. No land drop. Interesting. I know Affinity really needs land sometimes, but I guess, you know, not all the time. We're going to pass turn with an Assassin's Trophy in hand. Thought about playing off their Relentless Dead there, but yeah, okay. Warzone going for Frogmite here. 4 mana 2/2. Yep. Get in for 1. The best thing here is we want to use Crypt Breaker and make a 2/2, so we have options there. Follow the Troll, not a land though. We are going to go with Lot the Troll here. Make a 2/1. The thing is, we don't want to give them a land with Assassin's Trophy, so we want to try and make it a situation where if we use Assassin's Trophy, it's only on something where they have a huge creature coming our way. So we're probably just going to pitch a lot of stuff to the Lawless Troll here. Simian Spirit Guide from the opponent. For nothing. Interesting. Signal Pest. Okay. Getting in for 2. Going to go with a block here. And just make our Lawless Troll a monster. Make it a 4/3. Not bad. And then we tap all 3 and draw a card. Would love another mana. Let's get in for 6 here. Since we can't block the Signal Pest because of the ability here, but we will be able to take their land from them, which is very nice. See, 3 cards and 4 cards in hand now for the opponent. There's a Darksteel Citadel. They're getting in the attack here because they really need to get their land back. The best thing about this land, though, is the War Zone actually comes back tapped to their land spot. So that's it for the opponent. Let's go to main phase 2 here. We're bringing in Nature's Claim, taking out Angler, probably taking out Midnight Reapers, and bringing in a Maelstrom Pulse and hitting Submit. The Affinity matchup really isn't that bad because of the Assassin's Trophy nowadays, because we get rid of any permanent with that. We're just adding Nature's Claim for added insurance. This will probably be a key for me. Turn 1 play Gravecrawler, turn 2 into a Troll. Seems decent. Yeah, let's go with the keep here. Blinkmoth Nexus from the opponent into a Flyer Lifelinker. Gravecrawler pass turn. Darksteel Citadel from the opponent here. They've already got a lot more mana now than they did previously. Welding Jar into an Ornithopter, not bad. Blink Moth animation, and just swinging in for 2. Very nice. They gain life thanks to that flyer. You go Overgrown Tomb and go with a Lotleth Troll and get in for 2 here. Keep in mind, Welding Jar can regenerate a target artifact, so using Nature's Claim really means we really just have to target either a Welding Jar or wait for them to use the Welding Jars. Passing turn for the opponent here. Lord of the Accursed and Cemetery Reaper would be good pitches into Lotleth Troll, so just kind of being patient on seeing what they're going to do here. 4 cards in hand for the opponent. Frogmite, no problem. 2 cards in hand now. Yeah, they're just going to go Blink Moth into a Springleaf Drum, interesting. And then swing in for 2 in the air. And again, they're going to go up for 1 thanks to that life linker, going to 18. Alright, let's go Landwar Waste into a probably a Cemetery Reaper. Feels the best. And let's get in for 6. Frogmite block here. Yeah, we're going to pitch a card to the graveyard, just like we did before, and the Frogmite is dead. Gotta get rid of the Frogmite, it's a big threat. Blinkmoth Nexus here coming in. Another Welding Jar. Alright. Getting for 2 again in the air. Dropping us down to 12, they go up to 14. They're kind of winning on the race here as far as life total, but we have a ton of damage coming in next turn. And they have 1 card in hand, so I feel pretty happy about playing an Overgrown Tomb here, and then swinging in like a madman. They can't block anything. They can definitely block with the Ornithopter here, but yeah, Welding Jar sack, make it regenerate. Sure. Let's go with a Nature's Claim on the stack there. And opponent scoops it up. Nice. Feels good. Feels good. All right, let's get into match 5 here. And match 5 is actually going to be a really quick one. It's only going to be 1 game. Spoiler alert. But I haven't seen Infect in literally months, so I wanted to show off a quick Infect game. And that's what this is. Gravecrawler into a breeding pool. All right, get in for 2 here. Blighted Agent here. A 1/1 unblockable with Infect. Lord of the Accursed, get in for 3. 3rd mana going for a attack. We let it happen because we can't block it. We go for another Blighted Agent here. We could go for Liliana, which is exactly what we're going to do, and do -2 here, and just get rid of one of the Blighted Agents. Could have had Blossoming Defense or something there, but they did not. Down to 10 for the opponent here. Verdant Catacombs, down to 9. 3 cards in hand. Duress, doesn't hit anything. And maybe hit us. Okay. Down to 2. Yeah, we're just going to hit him for 5. Once again, drop him down to 4. Let's go Troll here. We could go with a -2 or just +1, but we're going to go with a -2 here and get rid of that agent. And that's going to do it. And that's going to do it for that match. The opponent, I believe, scoops up after we hit submit here. But in this particular matchup, we would bring in Maelstrom Pulses. We would bring in Fatal Pushes. And just hit submit. The Infect lists are very explosive, so if they get up a little awkward hand, then they don't want to keep it. So they go with a mulligan there to 6. We keep, honestly, and that's going to do it for us. Yep. And those are the matches with Golgari Zombies. Hope you liked the deck tech. Hope you liked the matches. Definitely let me know what you think of this modern deck tech for sure. I've been trying to get into modern a lot, lately doing a lot of grinding and trying to build some decks for the modern format. Let me know how I did in this particular video in the comments down below. Like the video if you like it, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and let me know what you want me to cover for modern in the near future. I know for the month of October, I'm going to try and do spirits, going to try and do vampires, all the kind of Halloween style stuff. So look forward to that content very soon. I love you guys, and I will see you in the next video. Peace. Thank you for watching the video. If you enjoyed the video, make sure to smash that like button. Subscribe to the channel for more awesome MTG content just like this. And make sure to tap the bell icon to be notified whenever a video is made live. If you want to keep watching content, here are 2 more videos for you. This video and many others are sponsored by MTGO Traders and Cape Fear Games. Buy and sell digital singles to build your online collection today with MTGO Traders, and get your paper singles, accessories, and much more from Cape Fear Games. Whatever your Magic needs, both places have you covered.